Hello, it's Jang here with a look at the LEGO Star Wars Ultimate Collector Series Slave I. This is a 1,996 piece set. To kick things off, I want you to just spend a little time looking at this thing, because your eyes will tell you more than my mouth ever could. The included stand lets you pose it in flight mode. You can also pose it in landed mode. Lying flat on the ground, it's about 17 inches long and 7.5 inches tall. The model weighs almost 4.5 pounds. You really have to see this thing in person to understand just how massive it is. It's intended to be minifigure scale, as in true minifigure scale. All those other sets we like to call minifig scale, they are not. It took the designer 3 months to develop this model, so I'm not going to critique it, I'm going to appreciate it. This is probably my favorite angle to admire because it shows off the subtle angles of the model, specifically this one at the top. Look at just how little that is inclined and how accurate it is. Compare that to this angle right here, and this angle right here, and the way that this is curved off in the front. The whole thing is smoothed out to a degree that's uncommon in LEGO sets. I mean, just look at all of this area here. You can see both sides right from there, and you can see just how smooth that is and how nice the transition is from these actual rounded pieces onto the flat areas, and how perfectly the angle of the flat areas was set just to match that. And then these base areas, all the dark red, was also a huge challenge. They used a big piece right there. That's probably the least nice looking thing on the whole set, but still it just fills up the area quite well. Got a good kind of interface between stickered areas and areas that are just showing you the color of the parts themselves. I'm also really impressed by all this area back here. Again, with the smoothing, it's really tough to pull off. They did have to order up some new parts, or some parts that have not been available in certain colors before. There are new parts in this set in dark red that have never been available in that color before. Same for sand green. You can see some of those pretty quickly, and also some in dark green. What a marvelous contraption. Just a beautiful replica. This is really trying to be a replica. These wings are nice too. Lots of greebling there to good effect, good shaping with the rods and the little universal joint kind of thing that sticks out there. Also new for this set is this windscreen piece, this huge windscreen piece, which was designed specifically for the Slave I. It's always tough to see clear things on video, but the shape of this is specifically tailored to the needs here. You've got just a straight area right here, and it transitions beautifully into a curve. You almost can't feel the spot. It's right there, but it's really well done. It's also a compound curve, obviously, because it's curving forward and to the sides. These little areas of light bluish gray are actually stickers, so that is a fully clear piece for folks who want to find out new uses for pieces. And it is easy to remove the whole thing. It comes off towards you. It has a couple of axle pins to align it, and then just one actual pin that's really holding it in at this end down here. It's best to look at the inside of the cockpit when this is standing up in its flight mode, but I do want to show you that you can move the chair, the captain's chair, and that turns up like it's supposed to dump them out. And also it has a little bit of up and down, kind of a crank motion there, or it's kind of on a cam, so you can adjust that as needed. You actually do need to move it away from the front end or the top end in order to have clearance for Boba Fett's little accessory on his helmet. But again, we'll look at the details here more closely when it's in flight mode. Look at how good it even looks from this low angle from the rear. All of this is studs down, or studs facing towards the outside, and it's slightly greebled as well. So when it's in flight mode, you don't see the backs of plates, and even when you're looking at it from this angle, it still looks good. That hatch inside there is working. You can open that up. You have to be a little careful to make sure it comes out straight. But there you go, there's your Han Solo in carbonite block, and we'll look at that separately with the minifigures. All right, flight mode enabled on its stand. One thing that I do want to highlight here is how these winglets work. They are actually gravity assisted for the model, just like the original Slave I toy from way back when. So as you turn this, they always stay flat and parallel to the ground. Here's a closer look at what all moves together. You've also got adjustable flaps inboard if you want to adjust those a little bit. And this sticker here is not the same as this sticker here. They've got proper asymmetry going on with the small details. The thing looks very respectable from the underside or the back side as well. Most of the time you're not going to see this, so that makes it even a little bit more special that we get realistic details back here. I guess folks would have complained if there wasn't any of this, but I feel like they've done an exceptionally nice job. You're still going to see some of the structure of the thing underneath, and some of the colors are not completely matched because they're still going with the theme that they always do of putting in different colored things to help you to find parts more easily as you assemble the thing. The little clear studs with clear tiles on top are spacers, and that's what the thing actually sits on when it's in its landed or flat horizontal mode. Kind of makes it hover a little bit. That was the intent of the designer, to make it look like it's actually standing up above the ground just slightly. So here's the more normal view of the cockpit. You can see some printed slope pieces off on the sides, 2 clips, one on either side to hold on to weapons, just a little bit of greebling in there as well. And this can all be rotated to allow you to see another print that's a common piece, and then some custom stickers that are specifically for this set. Your Boba Fett figure sits right up towards the front of all that, and you just rotate him back in there. There's pretty much the view that you get of him when he's in the cockpit, so he is viewable from just about every major angle from the front. Swinging down just a little bit, you get to the first weapon systems we'll look at, and they're completely hidden by default. This whole panel swings out on a couple of droid arms and will face forward. I never noticed before just how many different types of weapons were carried by this vessel. The other side opens up as well. You want to be a little bit careful with this one. Keep the end closest to you kind of in for as long as you can while you pull the base of it out. Once again, more different types of things on the other side. Lastly, all the way down here at the tip, you've got your quad cannons here, and these are able to swivel and they are linked together. They're also slightly asymmetrical, just top to bottom. We've got the extra cone piece added in there for just the proper effect. These are simple, but they look good just like everything else. The stand is not locked together. Everything just sits on there. It makes it very easy to put this on and take it off. But it is very sturdy, and I don't have any worries about the whole thing falling off. There's a quick look at the nameplate plaque, and you can hit pause if you want to read the whole thing. Meet the latest Boba Fett. New print on the torso, new print on the legs, new print on the arms. Yes, the arms, we'll see that. Appears to be the same helmet as we last got, but there's also going to be a new print underneath that helmet for the head. So here's one of the arm prints right there. Nicely detailed. It's pretty sharp, and it's also metallic. Got some two-level stuff going on there. And on the other side, you're not going to see it without removing first the cloth piece, which is a new cut, and it has its own new print on it as well. Before I take that off, let me just show you side by side the new versus old Bobas, so you can see the differences in the prints. Pretty obvious once you see them side by side. And once you take the helmets off, keep in mind on the left in the center, this is the new one. So it's a younger version of Boba Fett than we last got. Doesn't have the 5 o'clock shadow, doesn't have as much scarring on the face. And with all the other stuff removed, now you get to see the print on this side. Man, oh man. It's got print on the back of that torso too, gotta check that out. What I consider to be one of the best detailed, most accurate figures from Lego's Star Wars line has just gotten better. And then these three are included in the set as well. On the left, a Bespin guard, which in my opinion is kind of a cult classic character. In the middle is one of the newer styled stormtroopers that a lot of folks don't like because it's different, even though it is definitely more movie accurate if you look at it objectively. And then there's a Han Solo who's about to get frozen into a carbonite block. Let's go ahead and take off this so you can see there is an angry clone under there still, and there is a secondary face on the back of this version of Han Solo to go with the face that you see on the carbonite block. If I can ever get it off, he really doesn't want to get frozen. There we go. Speaking of the carbonite block, there it is, with again more pretty fine printing on the side, especially with the little buttons inscribed there. We'll look at this one from the front as well. Looks like the prints are mostly copied side to side, but you've also got all the print on the front to add extra detail where there aren't carvings. So there's a little bit of texture you can see in all of this section here. The raised part is more shiny and just smooth, but it does have that print applied to it, and you can see how the face kind of matches that secondary face on the figure. So when you put that in there, see, it's going to be appropriate. And if you haven't seen these, you actually can place him in there so that you're able to kind of replicate the melting down, the thawing process later on, and magically make him show up. Like I said at the beginning of the video, your eyes are going to tell you everything that you need to know about this set. The thing is just huge. It is very accurate, more accurate than any version they've done to date. It's probably the best scaled Slave I that's been sold on the toy market to date. Well, here's some actual useful information that I can offer you. In the manual, the designer mentions that this is not only a display model, it's also a playset. And I disagree with that quite very thoroughly. This is not a good model to play with. There are a lot of things that can fall off easily, a lot of small details that can be knocked off without you even noticing it for quite some time. A lot of the little things on the back of it will fall off easily. There are some tiles that are not very secure, and a lot of the sides of the model, the major plates that make up a lot of what you see of it, the gray and sand green colored parts, are thin and don't have a lot of structural integrity to them. So if you accidentally squeeze on the thing in the wrong place, you will start to loosen things up. You really don't want to play with this unless you are incredibly dainty and very, very, very careful constantly. The dark red section is very solid and very safe to handle all around its edges. So it's easy to pick this thing up and transport it safely. It's easy and safe to switch it between its ground mode and its flying mode on the stand. But beyond that, I really don't recommend heavy handling. Now, I don't hold that against the model whatsoever. I think it should be a display model. I think that's how it is presented. I think that's how 90% of folks who would seriously consider purchasing this thing would use it. So I feel like for what it's supposed to be, it is as close to perfect as we have gotten to date. It's a phenomenal model. It's a true triumph of design to be able to get something that's so advanced and has so many subtleties to it and so much completeness, and yet can still be just built by normal folks from instructions. There's a big difference between being able to make something that looks pretty in Lego and being able to make something that would pass all of the quality control, all of the review levels, to actually make it into a Lego kit to be sold to the public worldwide. I feel like that's enough from me about this set. If you have any thoughts you would like to share about this based upon what you have seen, or if you actually have the model already, you've put it together, and you'd like to share your experiences with it and your own personal thoughts about it, please do down in the comment section. The comment section is all for you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that it was informative and or entertaining for you, and I hope that you will stick around to check out more of my videos, because more are on the way very soon, and I mean a lot more. So I'll catch you later.